karma yogi. Because our very physiology tells us that without work you die. If you sit for even 1 hour doing nothing, you will probably die faster than you would have otherwise. Which means we are made to work. That is what even Ayurveda says. Samikshakari, work very hard. So karma yoga is trying this karma itself, the work itself, as your philosophy in life. In every walk of life you do your karma. That is all what is the essence of Indian philosophy. Only 2 words I will quote from the Mahabharata. Dharma kshetre, kuru kshetre. Now you split it. Dharma plus kshetra, kuru plus kshetra. Rewrite it. Kshetre kshetre dharmam kuru. In every walk of life do your duty. This is karma yoga, essence of karma yoga. People have a lot of interpretations. Philosophers are like that. They complicate matters. But the simple philosophy is, if you work, you live. Studies have shown nobody dies of work. There's a great researcher in the West, a reductionist researcher called Hans Selye, who died as a professor of medicine in the Ontario University. But what he started as a postgraduate student, he used to love reading. He used to read for 17 hours, 18 hours a day. But the last century is beginning. His grandmother, who was from the previous century, was worried because she thought those who read a lot, those who work very hard, they die early or you go bad. So she told him, young boy, don't do this at the age of 17. If you read like this, you'll become mad. Then he was thinking, I love reading. I enjoy reading. When I'm reading and working, I feel happy. If I don't do that, I feel miserable. So why shouldn't I do that? So in 1936, he wrote a letter to the editor of the journal Science. What is stress? Because my grandmother says I get stressed when I read. What is stress? 1936. Nobody picks up the gauntlet. Nobody replied. 20 years he worked and produced a monogram on stress. It's called Hans Selye's Stress and Distress, where he showed if you work and do work which you love, you improve your health. You work and hate that work, you die. So what is important in karma yoga is you must love the work you do. The key basic word is love. So when you love your work, you can work 24 hours. Look at our Prime Minister, he works almost 18 hours, 19 hours a day. He went to America and he was on fast, that Navaratri fast. He lived on water alone for as long as 6 days, attending 60 meetings and lecturing about 10 times. And even Obama was horrified. He said, how do you do that? Where do you get your energy from? You can get your energy from breathing properly if you do yoga and do pranayama. When you say Om like that, it is Om here, sound. But when it goes through your the vocal cords, it becomes ultrasound. Because the vocal cords vibrate like a piezoelectric crystal. And it's ultrasound. Ultrasound is energy. So that goes down into the lungs where there are small bubbles of water. They coalesce. It's called sonoluminescence. When they coalesce and break, they release energy. So our Rishi Munis were not eating at all. They were sitting and doing pranayama for days on end, months on end. So karma yoga is the only essence of life. It is not only you. If an animal doesn't work, it dies. So if you sleep in bed, you die. In the olden days, we used to not allow any patient after heart attack to get up and walk. And most of them died a natural death within few months, in bed only. My former chief, who is a Nobel laureate, Bernard Lown, he started what's called the chair treatment of heart attack. So after a week's heart attack, he will allow them to sit in the chair, go to the commode, etc., then mobilize. Then General Eisenhower was at the end of his third year, first presidency. This man had a massive heart attack in 1953. So his 2 doctors, Sam Levine and Paul Dudley White, they took the inspiration from this chair car and then they allowed him, because he was a very popular president. He had a second term assured almost. So they told him, you move about and also contest the next election. So he contested the next election 1 year after heart attack and won the election and became a president for another 4 years and lived for another 10 or 20 years before he died. So work doesn't kill. Work helps. Work is health. And laziness is death.